So now we got to do our work. I'm sad. No, stop talking. We got to do this. I'm recording a video. Time to start. All right. So we're going to let me zoom in a little bit so we can read this. We're going to do the guided practice real quick. I'm solving this. At the end of it, we're going to get 3 scenarios. We're going to have 1 solution. We're going to have 0 solutions. Or we're going to have many solutions. Okay? So let's crank through the math and see. So remember on all these, we want to make it look like x equals some stuff. So we got to move all the x's to one side and all the other stuff to the other. They have a negative 6x here on this side. So they added 6 to both sides. What's 3x plus 6x? 9x minus 2. Over here, the 6x's cancel out, and I'm left with 25. What's the next move?
Get rid of the negative 2.
Yeah, so if I'm subtracting 2 in the equation, how do I get rid of it? I'm going to add 2. Whatever I do on one side, I do to the other. These 2's cancel, and I'm left with 9 times x. What's 25 plus 2? 27.
Wow.
So I have 9x equals 27. I need to get rid of the 9. What's the 9 doing to the x? Multiplying. What's the inverse of multiplying? So what am I moving? The x or the 9?
The 9.
Only the 9, right? That's the only thing I want to move. So I'm going to divide by 9. Now, sometimes kids will write down the x, and then they'll say, well, 27, that's wrong, technically. I want to make sure that we're doing it correctly because when you do Algebra 2, you're going to do a lot of this stuff, and it has to be done correctly, okay? So because I only want to move the 9, I only divide by 9. Now, there will be scenarios where you want to move the 9x. In other words, you want to move the x with the 9. Most of the time, you add or subtract. So if it's a positive 9x, you would subtract 9x. If it was a negative 9x, you would add 9x to both sides. That's if you want to move the x with the 9. But our goal is to get x by itself and all the other stuff on the other side. And sometimes in that process, and we did that in this problem. Here, I wanted to move the 6 and the x. I wanted that whole thing to go over here. Well, what is it doing on this side of the equal sign? Subtracting. Subtracting by what? 6x. I want to move the x with it. So when I want to move the x with it, I do the inverse operation of subtraction, which is to add. What am I adding? The whole thing I want to move, 6x. And so sometimes you guys get confused and you'll want to do this. And sometimes you want to do this, and it might be the wrong time, right? If you just want to move the coefficient, the number in front of the variable, you probably will divide by that number. If you want to move the entire variable term, that's the coefficient and the variable, 6x, you'll probably add or subtract. In one case, you make it equal 0. In another case, you make it equal 1. What's 9 divided by 9? 1. 1 times x is x. What's 27 divided by 9? 3. Is x equal to 3? Yeah, that's a true statement. All right, let's do this next one. What do we need to do here, kiddos? Distribute. So I need to push this 2 through the parentheses. Am I right? So what's 2 times x? 2x. What's 2 times negative 1? Negative 2. Do I need the parentheses anymore? No. I do not need the parentheses anymore. What do we need to do in the next step? Good. We're going to combine like terms. So here we're going to combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Now, the truth be told, I could move the 2 over to one side, then move the 3 over. Mathematically, it's the same thing. but it's an extra step. If I combine like terms, then I only have to move one term, right? It's actually not any more steps or any less steps. So what's 3 minus 2? 1. So now I have 2x minus 4 equals 2x plus 1. Now I already know what's going to happen here. I have the same slope. I have the same slope, different intercepts. Different y-intercepts. What does that mean? It's not going to be true because they are what? They're parallel lines. And it'll never cross. So that means there are no solutions. But we're going to crank through the math anyways, right? All right, so to continue down this path, I'm going to move this 2x over to this side. So I say 2x. I'm going to remember, because I want to move the x with the 2, I'm just going to add or subtract. I do the inverse. This is a positive 2x, so I'm going to subtract it. Here, 2x minus 2x is equal to 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Over here, when I subtract 2x, 2x minus 2x is 0, but then, in other words, this will cancel with this will cancel with this, and I'm left with negative 4 is equal to 1. Is that statement true or false? False. Okay? So whenever it's false, that means there are no solutions. That only occurs when you have the same slope and different y-intercepts. If we graph this and this will have a y-intercept at 1, this will have a y-intercept at negative 4, but the same slope. So it's going to be, well, it'll be like this. They'll never cross. You guys got to make that sound effect. No? All right.
Isolation boost on.
All right, can we I'm going to leave that up there for just a second and let you guys finish it. I feel like I went kind of quick. Plus, I need to upload